Hi, this is Lori Ann Rickard from My Health Spin. Today we're going to talk about filling out your medical life list. Your medical life list is a document that you keep that has all the important information that you would need if you went to your doctor or you went into the hospital. I have here my dad's medical life list. For many of you know, my dad lived to the age of 92. He was a very healthy man, but at 92 he had had a lot of health care and a lot of health care issues. And this form was critical to my family and his friends so that anybody who was taking care of him always had this medical life list close by so that they could answer any questions that a doctor or anyone needed to know. So how do you go about filling out your medical life list? We have a template and a worksheet for you to download from our website if you want to fill out your medical life list, but I'm going to use my dad's as an example. So the way you start is you'd put the patient's name, in this case William Rickards, at the top of my dad's medical life list, and you put his date of birth, his address, and his phone number. On my dad's medical life list, we list all of his caregivers because he had very many people that took care of him, and we needed to know their contact information in case somebody got sick and we needed to find somebody to fill in. I also picked an ambulance company that I felt comfortable with, and I listed it for people so that they had a direct number if in fact they had to call an ambulance. The next part of the medical life list has to do with a primary care physician. That primary care physician could be called your family practitioner, an internist, but the main doctor that you see for most things. You're going to have the name and the address there, and I've also provided a place for you to just keep a list of your most recent appointments with that doctor. The next part of the medical life list is going to involve the patient's specialists. Those are the people that they see for a variety of different issues. So you may have your dermatologist, you may have your OBGYN, you may have your nephrologist who handles your kidney issues, you may have an orthopedic surgeon if you have back, knees, shoulder problems. All of the internists that are, or the specialists that are important to you and your health care, you're going to list there. And again, we have a list on the other side where you can put your most recent appointments with any of those doctors. You might also want to include your ophthalmologist, your optometrist, your physical therapist, your podiatrist, your wound care specialist, all of those people that you see for your health care. The next part we have of the medical life list has to do with the tests and various procedures that you've gotten over time. So you may have gotten a colonoscopy, you may have had a procedure where you needed a mole removed from your skin. This is the place where you're going to list those procedures and the date. You'd be surprised as the years go on, especially for my dad who was 92, how you can lose track of how often you've gotten your colonoscopy. And that's important because you're going to be asked that by the doctor. The next area on their medical life list has to do with your pharmacy. Which is your preferred pharmacy, so that you have the address and the fax number so that if you need to have the doctor call into a script at 2 in the morning, you have that information readily accessible for you. The next area has to do with medical supplies. Is the patient in need of oxygen? Do they need a hospital bed? Do they need a wheelchair? Do they need that wheelchair serviced? That would be the area that you would put all that information. The next area on the medical life list has to do with your health insurance. You may have several different health insurance that cover you. For example, my dad had both Blue Cross Blue Shield and Medicare, so we had that information listed there. You may have pharmaceutical coverage for various pharmacy and drugs. You list that there. You may have optical insurance or dental insurance. All of those things you'd list there. You'll see in the next part of the medical life list that we have your current health conditions. This is where you'd list those things that are going on for you that are most recent. Maybe you just fell and hurt your ankle. those would be the area, the items that you would fill in there. The next area has to do with prior health conditions. You'd add those things in there that you've had done previously. For instance, my dad broke his hip many, many years ago. But it was oftentimes when we went to the doctor, they wanted to know when he broke his hip and what date it was. And I would list those items there. The next part of the medical life list has to do with the important contact information. Say, like my father was at an assisted living facility and they needed to contact me, his daughter, my brothers, since we have 6 kids in our family, his minister, those people that were important to him. All of those items are listed there. Obviously, if you have a child, you want to list the parent or guardian in that spot. The next section of the medical life list has to do with if you're filling out the medical life list for a child. For any of your children, you're going to want to know what school they go to, the contact information, and all the vaccines that they've gotten. Because we know when children go to school, the school's going to need to know what vaccines they've gotten. Because oftentimes you have to prove that in order for the child to go to school. The next section of the medical life list is specific for a senior. That provides an area where if they live in a nursing home or assisted living facility, you'd put the important information there. The next section of the medical life list has to do with your estate planning attorney or your elder care attorney. You want to have that contact information listed there for family if they need to contact the attorney. You may also, while they're in the assisted living facility, they may need to have their taxes filed. And so we have a section where they fill out who their tax preparer is or their accountant. The last section of the medical life list is potentially the most important, and we put it at the very end because you may need to use it time and time again. And that's a list of the patient's medications. Anywhere you go for any doctor, they're going to need to know what medications that patient is on so that there's not any drug interaction and they don't duplicate the medications. So this list you want to keep updated and keep updating it so that you can just take off the back end of the medical life list and hand it to your doctor so that they have a list in the patient's chart of all their medications. You can see how this list for my 92-year-old father was really our lifeline for his medical care during his life. And we want to help you prepare one for you or your loved one so you have that security if in fact you have a health care issue. If you want more information about the medical life list or other healthcare topics, please feel free to go to our website, myhealthspin.com. This is Lori Ann Rickard from My Health Spin, helping you to spin your healthcare your way.